Hello, my name is Alexis, and I'm a third-year architecture student at the University of Kansas, and this is my study abroad research video. This summer, I had the awesome opportunity to study abroad in Spain and Portugal for a little under a month. We visited 8 different cities: Barcelona, Porto, Lisbon, Sevilla, Cordoba, Granada, Toledo, and Madrid. During my trip, I had a research topic to which I paid close attention to. My research topic was, what are the key differences between the spatial layouts of each city and what kind of key urban features, cultural practices, and architectural styles differentiate them? I chose this topic because I'm really interested in urban design and how different cities like to operate. In the spring of 2024, I took an urban design class, which really helped me understand key strategies when it came to designing a city. It also taught me positive and negative design elements in a city and which design elements make up a good city. This topic is super important because most cities throughout the world are very dense and hold up most of the population. Cities, if done correctly, are very sustainable to live in, and there are many elements that make up a good city, such as the layout of the city and if the city is pedestrian friendly. First, the spatial layout and the grid of the city helps create a pedestrian-friendly city. In Barcelona, the city was laid out in a grid-like pattern. Barcelona was a great city and taught me so much about urban design. In Barcelona, amenities such as grocery stores, medical centers, and housing were all in walking distance, making them super accessible. Most everyday amenities were within a 1/4 mile radius, which is the criteria for a walkable city. Walkable cities help reduce the use of cars and other motor vehicles, and they also keep residents healthy and good shape. The Eixample district in Barcelona, designed by the famous architect Joan Serra, is a great example of a good urban design in a city made for pedestrians. The Eixample is characterized by a perfect grid pattern, long wide avenues, chamfered corners, and various squares. These long wide avenues are tree-lined and contain pedestrian zones. When I walked these streets in Barcelona, I felt like the streets were made solely for pedestrians. The city felt welcoming to walk in. The long pedestrian-only avenues were great for everyday life and exploring the city. These avenues have trees that act as natural bollards and provide shade, making it comfortable for the citizens and visitors to walk long distances. These wonderful areas for pedestrian use only, with separate zones for bikers as well. Some of the pedestrian-only areas were differentiated by different types of pavers. Tile work and pavers were seen a lot through my trip. In order to separate a car zone from a pedestrian zone, the pavers would switch directions, color, or style. This created a very organized city layout. The grid design also includes broader streets at each intersection, enhancing visibility and ventilation. Ventilation is great to have in a city such as Barcelona because these cities can get up to super high temperatures and ventilation is needed during those times. Within these blocks, there are many squares and plazas. These squares are accessed by pedestrian-only alleyways, include monuments, fountains, shops, and cafes. These plazas are a great place for pedestrians to gather. Many people are seen here relaxing, eating lunch, and people watching. Overall, the layout of Barcelona was incredible and well thought out. Cities are meant to be made for pedestrians, not vehicles. A good city is one with many amenities in walking distance and accessible walkways and public transit. The architectural design and feel of a city is another great way to determine a good city. Throughout my trip, I noticed so many unspoken architectural rules that the city abided with. When being in such old cities, it's important as an architect to integrate new design with old designs and to abide by existing building designs. Cities such as Barcelona, Madrid, Lisbon, and more had such harmony when contrasting their buildings. This was done by the use of rhythm lines. When constructing a new building next to an existing one, architects follow the rhythm lines of the neighboring building. This means aligning window lines and other major architectural elements to match. This practice helps maintain a consistent scale and rhythm across the cityscape. Designing new buildings to coexist harmoniously with existing structures is very important for preserving the city's architectural integrity and look. The main architectural styles I observed throughout Madrid, Barcelona, and Porto included Gothic, Baroque, Neoclassical, and Modernism. Each of these styles coexist harmoniously with the others. Baroque was one style I became very familiar with. Baroque architecture is known for being dramatic in its use of light and shadow, as well as its elaborate decoration and design elements. Many of the cathedrals we visited were Baroque. Neoclassical architecture was also prevalent, seen in both residential and public buildings. These neoclassical buildings often sat alongside modern structures. To ensure these different styles integrated smoothly and maintained a cohesive rhythm, architects employ certain techniques. New buildings were designed to match the scale and rhythm lines of existing structures, aligning window lines and other major elements. A city's buildings need to complement one another, and the cities throughout Spain and Portugal excel in this area. Overall, there were many things I learned throughout my trip. My main takeaways are the knowledge I have of cities, the culture throughout Spain and Portugal, and learning new architectural styles. Getting to learn so many new things about the urban design and different types of architectural styles will broaden my horizon as an architect. As an architect, it's super important to have your own style, and by exploring all sorts of different styles throughout the countries we visited, help me adjust and customize my own style as an architect and see what kind of things I like and gravitate towards. Being able to put myself in a new culture for a month by eating certain foods, listening to different music, and experiencing day-by-day culture shocks will help me grow as a person and expand my knowledge on how different cultures coexist throughout the world. Overall, this trip has taught me so much, and I can't wait to explore more of the world in the future. Thanks for listening.